Hi guys, it's April and I garden down in southeast Nebraska. I don't know why I struggle with that so much every single time, but I am in southeastern Nebraska, zone 5B, and it's a little windy out today. We just had a small storm go through, so hair in my face, it's fine. Otherwise, this is just my weekly garden update. I want to go through and show you how things have changed out here, what I'm planning to do in the future, and just start a conversation about gardening, I guess. So, here we go. Start with the biggest elephant in the room, and that is the corn. I have decimated the corn. The corn is currently out front as decoration. I harvested what was harvestable and it's waiting to be pulled apart so I can actually use it as popcorn. But I left these 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4 pieces, 3.5 pieces because I have beans that are growing up them, which is kind of fun. Haven't actually gotten a lot off of this yet. I've got maybe like 3 beans because I think what happened was the corn, it just shaded out the beans and it never really gave it a chance to go. So now that the corn is down, I mean, we've only got maybe, I don't know, 2 weeks if we're lucky before the frost hits us. Because otherwise, this isn't really going to do much of anything. I think we've got something here though. I saw it the other day, unless it got eaten, and then it's not going to be there. Okay, so they're over here. Let's see if I can get around here. Look at that. Yeah, I need to come in and harvest that. But that's what's left of the corn. Now, because of the weather, I haven't been getting like a ton of tomatoes, and the peppers are kind of spotty at this point. Honestly, because it gets so cold, I probably should think about pulling the pepper plants, and they might be the first plants that I start pulling so that I don't have like a massive cleanup all at once. I'll probably do these peppers 1 week and then start pulling tomatoes and maybe making like a green curry out of the tomato plants that we have left, or the fruit of the tomato, not the actual plant. You know what I mean. It's early. I'm okay. I'm still really in love with how this turned out. I didn't think it was gonna fill in, but it did, and I gotta show you this guy right here. Oh, did you see him? So that is the toad that lives in this little pond thing. I don't know what is going to happen when we dump this, because we can't leave this out here because it'll freeze and it'll crack this basin. So we usually empty it. So he's going to have to find a new home for winter. Otherwise, we've got cucumber tower that's still doing its lean. We've got more tomato plants. The sunflowers are on their way out. I'm just leaving it for the birds, so I probably won't even bring those down for winter. I'll probably leave those up and then pull them come spring, though I might crop down some of them so that it's not going into the neighbor's yard. We got some spicy peppers that need to be pulled. These are the ahi, which I enjoyed more than I ever thought I would. So I will definitely be growing these guys again next year for sure. So one thing I want to remind myself of for next year and how I lay out the garden is I want to give these peppers a ton more space, and maybe not in the middle of 2 plantings of tomatoes so that they don't get smothered out. I did that to the sweet peppers too, and to these hot peppers. And while they're still producing, I think I will get a lot more peppers if I give them some space, because I can show you the Korean greens are just humongous compared to all of these, and I think it's because I gave it space. So there's a time and a place for, intentionally squeezing in as much as you can, but you have to balance that out with, okay, so maybe it's not going to be quite as productive as I want it to be. I might get a whole bunch of varieties, but will I get a whole bunch of something, and how does that affect what I want to do? Does that make sense? So this right here is the Korean green that I was just talking about. So it is taking up a whole corner of this bed, and this bed is a 4x4. Well, this section is a 4x4, whereas I gave, oh my gosh, everything in that middle spot maybe like 1.5 feet to, grow out, where this one got like 2 square feet. And it's huge. And I have gotten so many peppers off this. I've actually stopped harvesting because I don't know what to do with them anymore. But it's just, there's just so many. I mean, they're even like drying on the plant at this point. So that is what I've learned. I mean, I don't know if I'll actually follow it because there's always so many varieties that I want to do. But it is something to note to myself. And then we have this last bed here, which I will admit, I've been bad. Right in here, not that you can really see, there is some tomatoes. Or not tomatoes, some potatoes buried in there that I really need to harvest. But I keep making up excuses because I don't want to dig. And I don't know how far it goes because it's a volunteer. So maybe I'll actually get the potatoes out of there. Otherwise, these tomatoes are just living life. And you can see that nasturtium that's just weaving itself through everything. And this right here is probably the biggest happy accident that has ever happened. Because the original plan was for like the milkweed and the soba and the buckwheat to just like take over this whole area. But because of that, maintaining the grass in the back area was kind of hard, and so I didn't know how I wanted to like deal with it. But as the grass grew, it became, grass. And so you got the cattail kind of effect. And honestly, I'm not mad at how this looks. It's created like a very natural environment for this area. And so the birds love it. There are some mice in here, but they're away from the house, so I don't care. And you don't see those ugly power boxes. So I'm okay with it. You just gotta love those like happy little accidents of areas like that. I know I did. I never thought it was gonna look like that. I was just kind of throwing things at it, hoping that eventually something like good would happen from it. But I like it. I like it a lot. And then we have the Inground Beds, which is pretty much just zinnias right here. The pumpkin's gone. We've got these ground cherries going that are producing like crazy. Of course, these cow peas that I've obviously, failed at harvesting recently, so I need to do a big harvest of those. Actually gotten a couple of tomatillos, which is exciting now that I know I can actually grow tomatillos. We've been eating some of the peaches. It just looks so pretty. And then we've got this zucchini plant. Thank you, car alarm. Okay, now that the car alarm is off, we've got my zucchini plant that just kept on going through stages of, am I gonna die? Am I not gonna die? Am I gonna die? Am I not gonna die? I think I've gotten 4 zucchini total, 3 of them from this plant. I haven't decided if I'm gonna pull it anytime soon or not, but here she is. And then over here, we've got a giant weed that I still need to pull. It's just there. We've got the candy pumpkin that I don't think anything's gonna happen with it. It's started getting flowers, but like I said, we've got maybe 2 weeks if we're super lucky, 3 weeks if we're extremely lucky, depending on how, weather wants to be this year. We've got some basil and some bunching onions. I definitely need to go through and pull all of my bunching onions and process it, because they're definitely tight in those right at this point, because we've got the same thing going on over here. Otherwise, we come over here, we've got my shadow. We've got this tomato experiment that my trellising system kind of just gave out on me. But the fact that they're this big and this good in ground, I think we did well. I'm actually starting to get some ripened tomatoes from this patch. And there's big ones in here. This striped German over here, I might actually get some tomatoes from, unlike the striped German that's in the bed that I think it got choked out. So what I'm learning is some of the longer day variety of tomatoes, I need to give more space, because the more vigorous earlier varieties are just going to take it out if I'm not careful. So not only do I need to make sure that my slicers are in front of my cherries so that they get the sunlight, I also need to make sure that my longer maturing slicers have more space than maybe some of my earlier varieties, like the white tomasol or the snowball, that kind of stuff. Because otherwise I'm not going to get any tomatoes. We've got the strawberry bed, this cucumber plant, always this peach tree, which is so massive compared to the other peach tree. I think really likes this spot. But the peaches aren't ripening the same way as the other peach tree. So I'm not sure what that's about. And then, okay, so here's the thing. I'm hoping I'm not gonna lose these blueberry plants. But I'll be honest, they don't look the best. So I think if I can keep them going until winter, we get the frost and everything kind of just starts dying back, and they come back next year, I think we'll be okay. But otherwise, I might be buying more blueberry plants. So that is the last September garden tour. Everything's still green. It's still kind of nice out, which is pretty odd for us in September, but here it is. Like I said, everything's still like really green, and it's very odd for us this time of year. At this point, things are usually dying back more significantly than what is happening right now. Our frost is usually between like the 6th and the 11th of October, which is 6 to 11 days. This is literally the last day of September. But we don't have any frost forecasted for maybe 3 weeks. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I should just ride this out until things happen or what. So here we are with me slowly pulling things out of the garden, seeing if I can kind of keep getting things out or not. I don't know. If you want to keep track of how this garden continues for maybe the next couple of weeks this year, or how next year's garden is going to look, subscribe down below, hit the bell, do all the things to get all the notifications so that you can just see my weekly videos. And this beautiful windswept hair, it's gorgeous, is it not? I should probably pull it back if I'm honest. Otherwise, I do have an Instagram account where I post more regularly some daily things that just kind of catch my eye about what's going on in here. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys again next week, but I also hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, amazing week ahead of you, and I heart your beautiful faces. Bye.